Welcome to another edition of our weekly press briefing here at the Rehab Office of the President. Today is Friday and October 24th. Today is celebrated globally as United Nations Day. Wherever you are, however you're listening, whether you're in the counties or in the diaspora, we'd like to welcome you to this edition of our weekly press briefing. And the reason why we are at an unusual location, one press briefing ago we were here, so today we had just returned from Monrovia County where His Excellency President Joseph Boakai had gone to join the United Nations in celebration of the United Nations Day. It's been a very busy week, as always, for His Excellency the President, and the President sees his activities in the interest of working for the Liberian people. The President is active and moving and pushing forward the country's agenda, the agenda for which he was elected for. The President Week, as I mentioned, has been really busy with the receipt of ambassadors and other members of the diplomatic community who had come to present their letters of credence. As you know, letters of credence presentations are presentations that the President will receive if a new ambassador is appointed by the country and accredited near Monrovia, where they will come to the country and present the credence. And for this week, His Excellency received in audience the ambassador designate of the Kingdom of Spain, the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, the Republic of Philippines, the Republic of Ghana, and the Republic of Mali first. And the following day, the President also received in audience two ambassadors, the ambassador designate of the Commonwealth of Australia and the United Mexican State. And those letters presentations were all presented to His Excellency at the Executive Mansion. For the President, this marks an important time of our country where members of the diplomatic community are working and looking forward to seeing, what contribution they can make to Liberia, especially on the diplomatic front. As you know, Liberia is a very important member of the global community, inclusive of the United Nations and other regional bodies. So with the presentation of letters of credence, he believes that this is also in contribution to our growing image globally, and how Liberia is positioning herself to be a major player in the world. Following the presentation of those, the President also designated Honorable Samuel Sifquia to speak on his behalf at the program marking the launch of the Executive Mansion Communications Internship Program, a program that the President believes will help, public communicators, especially those who intend to join his communication team at the Executive Mansion, in informing the public what he's doing and the activities and actions, he's taking, and most importantly, in gauging the views of the public, the Liberian people, the people he serves on a daily basis. As I mentioned earlier, the President also did visit Monrovia today to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the United Nations. And as you know, the United Nations was established in long ago, 80 years ago, basically, and Liberia being a founding member of the United Nations. And today, the people, the citizens of Monrovia, received a President who delivered a keynote message. In that message, the President did again recommit his government's role in calling for a united front for global challenges and global issues, and standing firm with the collective voice of the African community, the Common Africa position, as well as talking about the need of a stronger United Nations and the solidarity that Liberia brings. And Liberia also was, as you all know, elected as a member of the United Nations non-permanent seat. And in 2026, next year, Liberia will be taking her role, taking her place. So this celebration also marks the recognition of that effort. In fact, Liberia in this program was recognized, was given a certificate by the resident coordinator of the United Nations, representing the Secretary General of the United Nations, Honorable Antonio Guterres. And the president was excited of that, and the people of Margibi being a part of that. Still in Margibi, the president did tour the BWI, where the program was held, the Booker Washington Institute, tour the facility to see the progress that have been made so far with the new administration under the principalship of Madam Nancy Freeman, who heads the institution, and the tour included facilitating or visiting places such as the classrooms, the automotive area, the electricity, the carpentry section, and the president is well impressed as to the progress so far. Interestingly, the roads within Calcutta that was paved by His Excellency was also looked at, and it was open, or ribbon was cut for that. And the people, the citizens of Margibi, decided to name the road the JNB Avenue UN Drive. So in honor of the United Nations and His Excellency's work, the team there decided to give that to the President and the United Nations, and that ribbon was cut. Still on the actions and activities of the President also has appointed members of the government. A new appointment includes members of the judiciary. And he's appointed Councillor William G. Kippert, the judge of the traffic court of Banga City, Bon County. Councillor Eric Molu, judge of the death court, Lofa County. Councillor Daniel D. Dolokelen, judge of the death court of Bon County. Anthony Colley, judge of criminal court E, Lofa County, and Councillor Rennie O. Moses, Judge of Criminal Court E, Grand Jide counties. And these nominations are expected to go to the Senate for confirmation hearing. As per the Constitution, these nominations will definitely require confirmation hearing by the Liberian Senate. The President hopes that the Senate will give the nomination the expedited rule so that they can be confirmed where necessary to be able to continue the work or go to begin their work in the different jurisdictions, so that the issue of the rule of law and accountability can continue unabated. In additional news, I'm pleased to inform the Liberian people that Liberia has received Mr. Kilmer Armando Abrego Gracias on humanitarian and temporary grounds. I therefore announce that the government of Liberia is hereby announcing the decision to receive Mr. Kilmer Armando Abrego Gracias on a strictly humanitarian and temporary basis, following a formal request from the government of the United States of America. The decision was reached after extensive consultations with relevant national and international stakeholders, reflecting Liberia's enduring commitment to upholding the principles of human dignity, international solidarity, and compassion in times of distress. Liberia's actions are guided by both international humanitarian norms and its own long-standing tradition of offering refuge to those in need. As one of Africa's oldest republics, Liberia has historically extended protection and goodwill to individuals and communities needing assistance, including the African freedom fighters and democracy advocates who once found safety on the Liberian soil. The government of Liberia welcomes the United States acknowledgement of this humanitarian act and notes that this action was undertaken voluntarily and in good faith and solely on humanitarian grounds. The decision underscores the long-standing friendship between Liberia and the United States of America that is built upon shared values of humanity, freedom, and justice. Liberia remains committed to strengthening international partnership and promote lawful, humane, and sustainable approaches to global protection and humanitarian cooperation. Thank you. Finally, I'd like to inform Liberian people that His Excellency will, on Monday, depart Liberia for Paris, Republic of France, for an official state visit. He was invited by His Excellency, the President of France, Honorable Emmanuel Macron. The President leaves and will return immediately after his engagement. Thank you all. I'll take your questions and please, as usual, state your name, your institution, and the question. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Okay, so my name is Princess Casida, and I report for the closing argument out of KMT. So, Madam BBS, the issue of rape across the country, it has been on the increase and it's non-buildable. And a few days ago, we had a father to the minor that alleged the minister to have raped her. But the father raised a concern that the government have not been doing anything in relation to that. So my question is, what exactly is the government doing when it comes to fighting rape across the country?
So I will tell you what the government is doing to fight rape. I'm sure you do know the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection have been one of the key institutions that is in charge of issues of gender-based violence, inclusive of rape and other forms of violence against women and girls. And rape as a non-billable offense, I'm sure you do know the pathways when a crime of such occurs. Who's in charge of providing the needed, information and services. As to the specific of the case, I do know that the case is currently with the police, the Liberian National Police, and they're conducting investigation. As to the status of that investigation, I've not been informed as to the status of the investigation, but I do know that the investigation was started. And they've been doing the investigation, but as to what's happening is something that I can follow up and give you more information, and also follow up with the Liberian National Police as to why it's been this snail pace. Because I do agree with you, issues of gender-based violence being a non-billable offense, in a criminal matter, it has to have that the necessary law be followed and favored, and the president is very clear on this. Favors should not be granted to anyone, irrespective of who you are, what you do, your proximity to the presidency. It's important when a crime is committed, the authority in charge, that is the Liberian National Police, the Ministry of Justice, and all parts of the criminal justice system should be involved so that the perpetrators are brought to book, and crimes such as rape and other harmful practices against women and girls, and even the rest of the country be brought, because for the president, he views crime as a matter of importance. So he's encouraging all stakeholders who's involved with any matter, not just in situation as you've mentioned, but other situations that is relating to crimes and other things, even crimes that were committed before now that require the necessary investigative procedure and processes that should happen in accordance with law.
PBS. I would love for we to make ours a little conversational. My name is Anthony Williams. I'm from National Television. Sorry for the poor quality of my voice there. I wouldn't mind were you to call the name of this individual that Liberia has accepted from the U.S. under humanitarian maybe laws or agreement. And if you call his name, has Liberia accepted a high-profile immigrant? The reason I'm asking is because just the other day, President Boakai was in the U.S., and it was said that the U.S. had engaged Liberia on accepting high-profile immigrants. And at the time, you made it clear that the discussions weren't finalized and all of that. Now, I'm also sure you are aware that some of our counterparts have not gone that diplomatic direction. They have refused to accept immigrants from the US. And if I'm right about this, if our humanitarian individual we have accepted is an immigrant, I know you specified, humanitarian reasons, but what does Liberia stand to benefit in this agreement to hold this individual?
So I will encourage you as a media colleague and all media colleagues following this to follow. I'm sure a lot of people will know the facts surrounding this individual, Sakima Armando Abrego Garcias.
Okay.
He's a Salvadorian man who was living in the United States legally, was deported in March by the U.S. government, which is called, but I mean, it's been a long administrative process with him. He wasn't, he didn't commit any particular crime aside of immigration crimes, So you can follow, that the individual and what the issues are. But I was just in terms of what Liberia stands to benefit. I was just specific as to the procedure and processes in which this individual was accepted, and Liberia being an ally, long-standing ally of the United States of America, and its request was made and it's been accepted. So, in terms of our continued support with the United States, in Liberia also, has been a country that is a home to a lot of individuals who were fearing persecution in their own countries, even during the apartheid era. Even lots of freedom fighters on the continent sought refuge in Liberia, from Kwame Nkrumah to lots of others, who sought refuge, to even Nelson Mandela, and others who were in the struggle for freedom in their different countries. So, I mean, even other leaders. I just listened to the other day the wife of the former Namibian president. She was even mentioning Mr. Eko, who also had a Liberian passport. And Liberia prided itself as a country for free slaves, and this is one of the time where Liberia provides, that space, that opportunity for someone fearing prosecution from their own country and see Liberia as a safe haven. Liberia will, of course, continue to work with our partners in the international community, United Nations, United States, and others to, be that place for, people who will seek refuge here.
Madam, thank you very much. I think it's important that you provide this clarity because I understand, where you're coming from, but I think the clarity is needed because obviously it's not only going to get misconstrued by media practitioners like us. I can guarantee you that. As we speak currently, there is information, there is on social media, it's trending now that President Boakai has named the road in Kakata after himself. But I was at the event, the county authority named the road after him. So this is where I come from. So I would really appreciate where you do due diligence so folks out there do not get this misconstrued.
In fact, I would tell, and that's an important question, Anthony, and I'll tell the Liberian people, President Boakai is someone who really doesn't care about the naming things after himself. And it was actually a surprise for himself because it was actually at the program that the county authorities said that they named the road after him and in honor of the United Nations. And even the banner and everything was, when they were printed, they did that. So President Boakai did not name the road after him. He wasn't the one who named the road, even planning the program. In fact, the program was planned by the county authority itself. It was just a coincidence that the president happened to be in Maragidi for the United Nations Day. And so they invited him to say, since we are all here, let's try to kill two birds with one stone. So the county authority reached out to the team and said that we want him to, officially open the road, and they themselves decided to name the county, the road JNB Avenue and United Nations Drive in honor of the 80th anniversary and the selection of Margibi for the celebration. And you also listen to the resident coordinator of the United Nations, that most of the time they've had United Nations Day in Monserrado. I mean, in many years ago, they always had the program here and not in the county, but this was a way to they agreed to come and they selected or placed the Booker Washington Institute in honor of someone who also served as a key communicator, educationalist, someone who believed in technical vocational education, and to honor the legacy and memory of Booker T. Washington. That's why they selected the event and venue. So the Mangibi people, being excited of such an honor, they decided that we're going to name this the United Nations Drive in commemoration of the 80th anniversary. So no, President Boakai had no part to play in the naming of the street. It was strictly the county that decided that, and as the president, it was actually a surprise that he had to come and be a part of that, that thing to, open the road.
Okay, so it's just a little clarity on when the president will be returning from France.
The president leaves on Tuesday. The trip is about for a week. It's going to return in Tuesday. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other question?
I guess that would do it.
Okay, so thank you all so very much, and I wish you all a wonderful Friday. Have a pleasant weekend and good afternoon.
So, that's how we come to the end of this press briefing. Thank you, Subclub. Thank you so much for following Jurassic Super shows on Music Commercial. Thank you, and bye bye.